What up, YouTube? You already know, Big Lou tapping back in. One more game of what it do. Big Lou and MZR2. Baby. Fire. So check it out. Yesterday, uh, Terrence Bud Crawford added to his already impressive resume, in my opinion. He became a 4 division world champion. So now he's been a world champion at 135, 140, 147, and now 154, which is, like I said yesterday before the fight, which is some people call super welterweight, some people call junior middleweight, and I've also seen it called light middleweight. Light middleweight, something that's more newer. It's dependent, it was always called either super welterweight or junior middleweight, and that's 154 pounds. So he became a 4 division world champion, multiple titles, right? Even last night, I'm still not 100% convinced or sure. I know Israel, how do you pronounce his last name? Madrimov was the WBA super 154 pound champion, and then after they made this fight, somebody was stripped of the WBO title. I originally thought, which was either Charlo or if it was Tim Tszyu. And yesterday, when I read some articles, it was introduced as interim WBO champ. So interim just means that pretty much that fight only. Somebody's in recess. Whoever really has the belt, for whatever reason, injury or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not really sure on that, but that doesn't change the fact that Bud won the WBA super belt. So that's a major world title. Another one added to his already impressive accomplishments and accolades that he already has as the only male boxer to be a 2-time undisputed champion at junior welterweight and welterweight. So that's 140 at 140 pounds and 147 pounds, right? So, there's been a lot of. So he stepped up weight. He came up 7 pounds. He said he didn't. Afterwards, the post conference, he said he didn't feel no different than 147. But the difference was that the caliber of fighter he was fighting, and he even said too that from the tapes they watched, because keep in mind, Israel. I'm just going to say Israel because I have a hard time pronouncing his name. He only came in with 10 fights, right? Professional fights. He's already the champion. Well, already held a belt. He had an extensive amateur record, right? But then you can't go always by amateur because amateur, the judging system is a lot different, right? If you're just a boxer and you go in there and you're busy and you're throwing a lot of punches, and even if a lot of them ain't landing, you get a better score off being more active. Flip side, you see that sometimes in boxing, pro boxing, but it shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, the Danny Garcia-Sean Porter fight. Sean Porter was more active, moving around, throwing punches more, but not landing at a better rate. And yet he still beat Danny Garcia for the vacant WBC welterweight title. So that's just one example. There's been more. You know what I'm saying? So what Bud said was that from the tape that they watched of him from his previous fights, at times he would throw punches, wild punches, basically just to get either a reaction from his opponent to basically maybe try to counter punch or just make something happen in the ring, right? Remember, styles make fights. So, if you're two fighters that are slow fighters, it's going to be a slow start, and things might not pick up till a quarter into the fight, or sometimes even fifth, sixth round. But I think Bud played a great chess match yesterday, because he did catch from time and time again. He did catch Israel with some good punches, and on the flip side of that, he ate some good punches from Israel, right? Some good punches that you would keep in mind. Again, think about Crawford. He's been like pretty much untouchable for the last 8 years, right? I think this was his first fight. He went the distance in 8 years. I think they said. But what I'm more referring to is back when like the Gamboa fight. Gamboa put him down hella times, right? Not until, and that was in front of his own crowd, his home crowd in Omaha, Nebraska. Not until he went southpaw did he start whooping his ass, whooping Gamboa's ass. So, you know, he what I'm getting to is that he was able to play a smart chess match, being patience being a virtue, and when he's seen openings, he took them. Because some people were saying, well, I seen Andre Ward say something like, he's not letting his hands go, he's got to take it to him. But I think what happened was more towards the end of rounds or later in rounds, he would pepper him up. You know what I'm saying? He would pop, pop, pop. You know what I'm saying? And I seen Israel speak too afterwards, not in the ring, but afterwards, and he kind of said that he thought he won. He said at the very worst he thought it was a draw, and he made a comment like he wasn't getting hit, but yet his face looked terrible. I mean, his face looked bad in the ring when the decision came out, but afterwards when they showed him, it was even worse then because it's now it's going to be getting to the healing process. I mean, his whole forehead was all jacked up, like glove burns, and and his whole side cheek and everything. So I don't know if he looked at himself in the mirror at all yet, but it didn't look good as far as that goes. So to say you didn't get hit, how could that all be on your face if you didn't get hit? And then Crawford had just a little bit here, but I will say this right now, and even I'll make another video about this sometime tomorrow or maybe later. I don't know. I do not believe that Crawford, even with his boxing skills, and this is a big plus for Crawford, and I said it before and I'll say it again, Crawford never has to get ready. He's always ready. So meaning, since Spence was his last opponent, or no, 2 opponents back, whatever it was, Spence walks around at 170, 180, right? Maybe 165, whatever. So every time he signs for a fight, he's got to get back into fighting shape. He's got to drop anywhere from 18 to 35 pounds or whatever it is, right? Crawford stays ready. He don't ever got to get ready. He don't got to get ready because he stays ready. He's always on, you know what I'm saying? He's always ready. He stays in the gym. He stays up to par. He don't have to get ready. So I'm saying that to say this. There's no way in hell I see, no matter what, with his great boxing skills, with the craft that he's developed over these years, with Bo and his team, there ain't no way in hell that there ain't no way in hell he's messing with Benavidez or Canelo. No way. These dudes hit way too freaking hard. You're talking about an additional 14 pounds up where he's at now. He's people are already giving him a little bit of thing. They got some things to say about his performance yesterday, which he did pretty darn good for fighting somebody that the style, and Crawford even said that he was waiting for him to throw some of them type of punches that they seen in the videos of prior fights of Israel that they watched of him, and he never did. So he had to obviously create his own offense, bouncing off his defense, if that makes sense to people, right? I mean, just look at what Canelo did to Jermell Charlo, right? I'm not saying Jermell Charlo's on a Crawford level, but he is a good boxer and he is a good fighter, right? And look, he made him quit. I mean, you're talking about just the power of Canelo. Look what he did to Bivol, right, on his arm. Remember Bivol showed his arm and it was all red, and you know what I'm saying? He did a number on him, right? Now just imagine that hitting somebody's face, like Crawford's face. He's not going to be able to last. It's just, that's the whole reason why we got weight classes. I'm just going to leave it at that for that. Okay, so Crawford won. The co-main event, I guess, if you want to say that, or the main event or the undercard, was WBA super junior. Well, he's a WBA super belt holder of the junior welterweight division, which was Pitbull Cruz. He ended up losing in a split decision to Jose Rayo Venezuela. And I think I made a mistake yesterday when I said he was trained by Jose Benavidez Sr. I think that because Robert Guerrero was there, and Robert Guerrero was one of the first ones that when he was called and knew, he was one of the first ones right there. So I'm thinking Robert Guerrero trained him, and maybe Jose Benavidez Sr. was part of the team. Maybe, I don't know, but he was there. Unless, because I don't, as far as my knowledge, no other fighter that Jose Benavidez Sr. train was there. So anyhow, the belt changed hands again. The WBA Super. It's went from Rolly to Cruz. Now it's over in Valenzuela's hands. Andy Ruiz, Gerald Miller was a draw. I'll be honest, it kind of surprised me because I didn't know much about Miller, and I thought he was just a big dude for nothing. So it really made me think that if Jared Miller didn't end up testing whatever happened with him and when the Joshua fight was supposed to happen, and then Andy Ruiz stepped in and ended up winning, right? Maybe Joshua would have had a little hard time with Miller, you know. And then the last fight that I spoke about was David Morrell. David Morrell won, and he called out David Benavidez, right? Which I've seen. What do you call that? Like posts of boxers and legendary trainers. I think it was Tony Atlas was one. Teddy Atlas was one. That he said one guy that David Benavidez shouldn't mess with is David Morrell. Now, Morrell is another guy like Israel that only has less than 10 fights or has 10 fights as a pro, and he became the WBA regular title holder at 168. That fight that he fought yesterday was at light heavyweight. And then he called out David Benavidez. So we'll see what happens, because I mean, if Canelo don't fight David Benavidez at that 168 mark, that's the only one. I mean, from guys that they haven't fought already, the only ones that there is David Morrell. That's about it, right? If you go up to light heavyweight, which these guys are making a move and playing with it, obviously there's only two fighters that have belts at the light heavyweight. It's Bivol with the WBA belt, and then Beterbiev have everything else, which we're supposed to get that fight coming up here again because Beterbiev got injured, right? So, but that's my take on my reactions from yesterday's fights. Crawford, like I said, as of right now, I know for sure he's the WBA Super Junior Middleweight Champion / Super Welterweight Champion. So, and he's 41-0. So that means he's got 9 fights to win to get to 50-0. Now, is he gonna go? Is he gonna try to push for 50-0, or do you think he's just be satisfied becoming a 3-time undisputed champion in 3 separate weight classes? I kind of think that both are possible for him at this point. He's 36 years old. He'll be 37 in about a month and a half. So I kind of think both things are possible for him. If he reaches the 50-0, he's really chasing. I mean, he's really pushing up on Floyd Mayweather's legacy. If he goes 50, if he gets 3-time undisputed, but doesn't reach the 50-0, he ends up stopping at say 46-0, 47-0. He's definitely pushing his legacy. And if he's able to do both, become a 3-time undisputed at 3 separate weight classes and goes 50-0, he definitely pushes him out the way. I believe, even though Floyd fought a lot of champions, right? The only thing that I will say about that is that he didn't face the only guys I can remember him fighting a rematch was Madonna and I think Ortiz. Victor Ortiz, I believe, right? I think those are the only 2 that he gave rematches to. Not saying nothing that has anything with Crawford. I'm just saying that I was just thinking out loud. So I don't know, but don't forget you still got Manny Pacquiao with 8 division world champion and multiple titles, right? So it's getting real. It's getting real jiggy with it as far as who people can say is the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? And it's a question I'm going to pose on another video as well. Whose accomplishments were greater? 50-0 Floyd Mayweather or 8 division world champion Manny Pacquiao? And if Crawford ends up becoming a 3-time undisputed in 3 divisions and go 50-0, or either way, even just the 3 division champion, and especially if he goes 50-0, I'll have his name in that mix of those 3 as whose accomplishments were the greatest. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of guys And you hear it a lot now. Titles don't mean nothing. You've heard Ryan Garcia say it. You've heard Shakur Stevens, I think he said it. Tank Davis has said it. And yet it's true too with Tank, because if you look at Tank, majority of his belts have been the WBA regular. But when it comes to those guys, he's the one that makes the most money, right? He's the most exciting one out of them guys. You know, David Haney was undisputed, but it seemed like he couldn't sell like Tank Davis or Ryan. I think Ryan got a bigger he had a bigger name as far as putting asses in the seat. You know what I'm saying? But just something, you know, something to play with, something to throw out there, some type hypothetical question. You know, we always used to hear who would win, prime Mike Tyson, prime Muhammad Ali. You know, who would win, the '95 Bulls or the 2016 Warriors? You know what I'm saying? For example, you know, who would win, the '85 Bears or the 2013 Broncos? You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. I got a couple other videos lined up for today. I just don't know which one I'm gonna do next. I'm debating on some political videos, and I definitely got to follow up on the Olympic video. So that might be the one politic video, and one to follow up on the Olympic thing with the so-called transgender person. There's more information that's more developments in that situation, and that you know what I mean. So people have come out saying that they were wrong, which I didn't say I was wrong. I went ahead and went with the narrative about it being unfair and you know, serious as far as injury wise. But I did make a point in the video, which I won't. I don't know if people caught it or not, but I'll bring it up in the video when I make it. And once I say it, if you know, you know, then you should know that it's a very excellent point, because you just have to wait and see. So with that being said, Big Lou, tapping out.